Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. Today, we're diving into an incredibly emotional story. One single decision made in a split second can completely change a person's life forever. A tired young wife, still recovering from a miscarriage, encounters a stranger bleeding to death on a deserted road at night. She makes a choice that puts her own life at risk. But what happens next will surprise you, touch your heart, and maybe even make you question what you would do in her place. If you enjoy heartfelt, dramatic, real-life stories like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the next video. Let's get started. In the pitch-black night, rain hammered down on the empty road. Headlights cut through the mist as Thắm rode home, exhausted after a long day selling goods. All she could think about was getting back to Quỳnh. Suddenly, she slammed on the brakes. There, lying motionless in the middle of the road, was a man covered in blood from a deep head wound. Her heart slammed against her chest, fear and duty hitting her all at once. She jumped off the bike, ran over, and dropped to her knees. Hey, wake up! Wake up!" she shouted, her voice shaking. The words echoed into the empty darkness, but he barely moved. Thắm looked around frantically. Not a single soul in sight. The road was completely deserted. Her breathing grew heavy, cold sweat mixing with the rain. She knew she couldn't leave him there. Even though her body was still weak from the miscarriage just weeks ago, she gathered every ounce of strength, lifted the man onto her shoulders, and started walking. Each step burned. Her shoulders screamed in pain. She kept thinking about Quỳnh waiting at home with dinner, but her conscience wouldn't let her turn away. The flickering streetlights stretched the road into what felt like forever. In that lonely moment, carrying a stranger's weight through the pouring rain, Thắm felt the heavy price of kindness in a world that often looks the other way. The tension builds as the music swells. Tham's legs tremble harder with every step, her face twisted in pain, but she refuses to stop. The screen fades to black with the words, "She saved a stranger, but who will save her?" Warm yellow light glowed softly inside their small house. Quỳnh pushed the door open after a tiring workday, shoulders aching. Thắm, my dear," he called out hopefully. Only silence answered. Worry instantly flashed across his face. He climbed the stairs, heart beating faster. That's strange. Why isn't Thắm home yet? He searched every corner, but the house felt cold and empty. When he noticed her basket was missing, he sighed. She must have gone to work again. He had told her so many times to rest and stay home after everything she'd been through, but she never listened. His heart filled with a mix of gentle scolding and deep warmth. She always worried about him more than herself. "She's so silly," he muttered with a tired smile. Even though he was exhausted, Quỳnh rolled up his sleeves and headed to the kitchen. The sound of chopping filled the quiet space as he clumsily cut vegetables, almost dropping plates. Loneliness crept in while he wondered where she was and if she was okay. Every movement in the kitchen carried his love and growing anxiety. He pictured her walking through the door, seeing the warm meal, and flashing that tired but beautiful smile that always melted his fatigue away. The long day, the missing wife, and that uneasy feeling in his chest weighed heavily on him. Still, he waited patiently, hoping every passing minute would bring Thắm safely home. Quỳnh glances at the clock, sighs deeply, and grips Tham's empty basket tightly. In his mind, he whispers, "Where are you, Thắm?" The scene cuts sharply to the cold medical station. Harsh white lights cast long shadows on the old tiled floor. Tension hung thick in the air. Thắm stumbled in, shoulders shaking under the man's weight. Sweat poured down her face as she gasped, "Doctor, what's wrong? Save him! Please save him!" Her heart raced wildly. The fear that he might not make it made her legs feel like jelly. The doctor moved quickly, examining him with a calm but serious voice. Thám stood right beside them, fists clenched, eyes locked on the injured man. He had an accident, fell on the road, bleeding so much, she explained, voice trembling. When the doctor finally said it was just a slight concussion and exhaustion, a huge wave of relief washed over her, but worry still lingered. She told them how she had carried the stranger alone on that empty road, her body still recovering from the miscarriage. The doctor looked at her with respect. "You carried him here by yourself? You're amazing. You brought him just in time. Otherwise, it could have been life-threatening." Thám gave a tired smile, but all she wanted was to go home. Her family must be so worried. Quỳnh was probably waiting with dinner. Despite feeling completely drained, she said firmly, "If he's okay, I should head home now. My family must be worried about me." Before leaving, she glanced back at the man one last time, silently hoping he would be all right. Inside, her risky decision weighed on her, but so did a quiet pride. The road home felt longer than ever, yet somehow her steps felt a little lighter, knowing she had done the right thing. The music shifts from tension to a mix of hope and lingering worry as Thám walks back into the rain, turning for one final look at the medical station. In the cold treatment room, faint neon lights flickered on the ceiling. The injured man slowly opened his eyes, his face twisted in sharp pain. "It hurts. It hurts so much," he groaned weakly. The doctor gently helped him sit up. "You're awake?" The man looked around, confused. Memories slowly coming back. "Why am I here?" The doctor explained the motorcycle accident on the deserted road. His heart pounded with relief, realizing he was still alive. Then the biggest question came out. "Who brought me here?" The doctor smiled softly. "A young woman passed by, saw you in trouble, and carried you here all by herself. She's small, but she managed to bring you nearly a kilometer." The man was stunned. A deep wave of gratitude and shock washed over him. He quickly checked his bag with shaking hands. The important project files and money were all still there. Thank goodness. If I had lost these, I'd be finished. Relief flooded his voice as he explained, "These are the survey files and drawings for the construction project. Losing them would have been disastrous for everyone involved." As a construction engineer, the heavy responsibility always sat on his shoulders. The fact that the girl didn't take anything made him respect her even more. She must be a truly good person. The selfless act kept replaying in his mind. He couldn't stay still. I need to find her, at least to thank her properly. When the doctor showed him the photo of Thắm, he stared at it intensely. A powerful determination filled his eyes. In that painful yet grateful moment, he realized one stranger's kindness had completely changed the direction of his life. Back at the small house, the dim yellow light only made the anxiety gnawing at Quỳnh even heavier as he picked up the phone with slightly trembling hands and dialed Teen. "Hello, Teen. Is Thắm over there?" The news that she had been gone since morning hit him hard, leaving him unable to sit still any longer. "She's been gone since this morning and hasn't come back yet," he said, voice tight with worry. He quickly told Teen to check around the market and along the roads, while inside his chest swirled a storm of remorse and self-blame for letting Thắm be alone so much after her recent miscarriage. Meanwhile, Teen grew just as anxious and rushed over to Tham's mother's house to ask if she had seen her daughter. The air grew thick with tension the moment the mother said she hadn't seen Thắm at all. Teen's doubtful tone stung her deeply. "You always think I'm the worst kind of person." She insisted again and again that she had done nothing, yet the old misunderstandings cracked open even wider, like a deep wound that refused to heal. Quỳnh and Teen split up immediately, one heading toward the market, the other pushing into the dark forest, both calling her name desperately under the pouring rain. "Thắm, please don't let anything happen to her," Quỳnh whispered, like a prayer, his steps hurried and heavy, every familiar corner of the neighborhood now feeling strange and terrifying. The fear of losing her tightened around his heart like a vice. At the same time, Tham's mother sat alone in her room, tears silently rolling down her cheeks, filled with regret and resentment at being suspected once again by her own child. All the built-up family pressure, past misunderstandings, and the crushing worry for Thắm merged into one overwhelming storm inside everyone involved. They rushed frantically through the night, voices hoarse from calling her name, clinging desperately to the fragile hope that she was safe somewhere. In that painful moment, the bonds of family and trust were pushed right to their breaking point, everything converging toward one single, frightening question. The rain fell even harder as the scene shifted. The night had grown late, and the pitch-dark road was pierced only by the cold wind, rustling through wet leaves. Quỳnh kept running without stopping, sweat and rain soaking through his shirt, heart pounding with pure panic. Then suddenly, through the downpour, he caught sight of the familiar figure of Thắm walking slowly ahead. His heart seemed to stop for a split second before surging with an explosive mix of overwhelming joy and lingering anger. "Thắm, Thắm, oh Thắm, where have you been for so long?" he shouted, rushing forward and pulling her into a tight, desperate embrace, his voice cracking with raw emotion. "Do you know how worried I was about you? I've been looking for you everywhere." Thắm looked up at him, her eyes tired, yet warm with love. She gently recounted everything. How on her way home, she had seen a man lying unconscious on the accident bridge, the road completely deserted, blood flowing heavily across the pavement. I didn't see anyone around, so I carried him to the medical station, she explained softly. Quinn listened, his chest tightening painfully as the full weight of what she had done sank in. He scolded her with deep worry in his voice. You carried him? Why were you so reckless? You had just recovered. You had a miscarriage not long ago. The terror of almost losing her still lingered strongly, making him hold her hands even tighter, as if afraid she might disappear again. Thắm lowered her head, her voice gentle and sincere. At that moment, I couldn't think of anything except that he would die. Despite her utter exhaustion, she managed a small, reassuring smile for her husband. In that raw, emotional moment, standing together on the dark, rainy road, the heavy anxiety that had built up all night slowly dissolved, giving way to profound feelings and tender love that wrapped around them both. Quinn felt everything at once, anger and affection, scolding yet deeply grateful for his kind-hearted wife. Thắm also realized just how much worry and pain she had caused him. The crushing pressure of fear finally shattered, replaced by a bond stronger than ever between two weary but deeply loving people who had found each other again in the storm. The atmosphere gently shifted as they finally walked home together. Warm light from the small kitchen spread softly, chasing away the last traces of the night's chill. Quinn and Thắm stepped inside, side by side, exhausted yet wrapped in a deep sense of peace after surviving the emotional storm. Quinn looked at his wife tenderly, his voice low and warm, with loving reproach. Haven't you eaten yet? You've made me so worried. Thắm gave him a tired but sweet smile and shook her head. No. Together, they entered the kitchen, the sound of running water and chopping filling the space like a comforting symphony of everyday life. Quinn clumsily washed vegetables, while Thắm chuckled softly, "If you help me, I'll burn the house down." They teased each other lightly, but every playful word carried layers of profound love and understanding. Thắm washed the pot as Quinn boiled eggs, exchanging small, caring remarks. "I bought some eggs today, honey. Let's boil some eggs." The delicious aroma of food slowly filled the air, warmth seeping into every corner of the house and into their hearts. Quinn gazed at his wife, quiet remorse rising inside him for letting her shoulder that act of kindness alone on the dangerous road. Thắm felt the pressure and fear her husband had carried while searching for her all night. Amid their slightly awkward but heartfelt gestures, they understood each other more deeply than ever before. "It's okay, honey. We'll help each other," Quinn said softly. The table was soon set. They sat facing one another, chopsticks gently touching in quiet affection. "Wow, look how delicious it is." They ate together in comfortable silence, interwoven with tender words, each bite of warm rice holding all their hope, relief, and renewed bond after the long ordeal. The heavy pressure of the night finally dissolved completely, giving way to simple, genuine happiness. In that quiet, golden-lit moment, two weary hearts found solid support in each other, proving that one single act of kindness didn't just save a stranger's life, it also saved and deepened the love within their own family. And as the camera slowly pulls back on the warm scene of husband and wife sharing a late meal, a deep voiceover fades in. long tot kong chi kun goi la, ma kon ku lei chin tin yu qua chung ta. On a rainy night, Thắm, still recovering from a recent miscarriage, discovers a seriously injured man lying unconscious on a deserted road. Risking her own fragile health, she single-handedly carries him nearly a kilometer to the medical station. Meanwhile, her husband Quỳnh returns home to an empty house and grows increasingly worried as Thắm fails to return. Panic spreads as Quỳnh and Tin desperately search for her, triggering painful misunderstandings with Tham's mother. At the station, the injured construction engineer wakes up, overwhelmed with gratitude upon learning a brave young woman saved him and left without taking anything. He vows to find her. When Quỳnh finally finds Thắm, emotions explode in a tearful reunion filled with fear, scolding, and deep love. The couple returns home, cooks together, and shares a heartfelt late-night meal, realizing that one selfless act not only saved a stranger's life, but also strengthened their own bond of love and trust.